Hey, Broncos country. What's going on out there in the Mile High? Man, it's your guy here. Just another die-hard Broncos fan who's been bleeding orange and blue since the days of Elway and the Orange Crush, coming at you straight from the heart of Colorado. The offseason is absolutely cooking right now. The NFL draft is breathing down our necks in less than 3 weeks. And yeah, the Denver Broncos are right in the middle of some serious trade chatter that's got the whole fan base buzzing like it's game day at Empower Field. It's not some wild, out-of-nowhere rumor, but it fits perfectly into the way Coach Sean Payton likes to do business. Picture this. We've all seen Super Bowl contenders go all in during that pre-draft window, stacking smart moves to chase that Lombardi trophy, and more often than not, it pays off big time. So let's sit down like we're grabbing a cold one at the tailgate and break this whole thing down. Because this is exactly the kind of move that could push us over the top. First off, let's set the scene real quick so everybody's on the same page. If this scenario plays out and the Broncos don't pull off this particular deal we're hearing about, what's the backup plan? We've watched legit contenders do exactly what Payton might be cooking up behind the scenes. Remember the Los Angeles Rams back in 2021? They went out and grabbed Von Miller and then Matthew Stafford in those big swings. And boom, they were hoisting the trophy that February. The Kansas City Chiefs did the same thing, adding Frank Clark to the defensive line and then moving up in the draft to snag Mecole Hardman to give Patrick Mahomes even more weapons. Heck, even Sean Payton himself has pulled off some sharp pre-draft moves in years past, bringing in guys like Zach Wilson types or John Franklin Myers to plug holes right before the draft. The man's proven time and again that he's not afraid to wheel and deal when the opportunity lines up just right. But here's the thing, and I've been saying this for weeks now. I don't think that full go big or go home in one single offseason is purely Payton's DNA. Sure, he's shown he can make multiple moves in a year when it makes sense. But he's also the kind of coach who plays the long game when it counts. Right now, as we sit here in early April 2026, the Broncos are sitting pretty with about $19 million in cap space. And there's still some room to create a little more breathing room with a couple of smart restructures on existing deals. That's a pretty sweet spot for a team that's already built to compete, Broncos country. It gives George Payton and the front office real flexibility without painting ourselves into a corner or risking the future. Now, if we don't see any big trades or splashy signings pop up in the next few days, I'm betting my bottom dollar we won't be dipping our toes into free agency until that Monday, right after the NFL draft. Why? Those compensatory picks, man. Sean Payton treats draft capital like it's pure gold. He's straight up called it the Bitcoin of the NFL on multiple occasions. We've seen other teams, like the Jacksonville Jaguars, turn late-round picks into solid contributors like Tim Patrick or Jacoby Brissett-type players in the past. Payton's not about to risk losing out on those extra selections just to sign somebody a week or two early. Any move before that post-draft window could mess with the compensatory formula and cost. Use picks we've already earned from previous roster moves. Draft picks are way too valuable to waste on something that could wait. That doesn't mean we're sitting on our hands doing nothing, though. There are plenty of smart, under-the-radar ways the Broncos can keep building this roster without burning those comp pick bridges. And speaking of smart building, you've probably seen the buzz exploding from Bleacher Report and some of the most plugged-in NFL insiders out there. They're pointing right at Denver as the number one landing spot for a certain explosive tight end who's been the talk of the rumor mill for weeks. We'll dive way deeper into that in just a second, but first, let's take a big picture look at where this team stands heading into 2026. Because Broncos country, we are not rebuilding anymore. We are knocking loud on the door of a real Super Bowl window. Look at the quarterback room. Bo Nix is locked in as the guy. developing into exactly the kind of tough, accurate leader we all dreamed about when we drafted him. He's got weapons all over the field now. Courtland Sutton bringing that big-bodied reliability on the outside. Jaylen Waddle adding that proven speed and playmaking after the trade from Miami. Marvin Mims with his quickness and big play ability. Troy Franklin stretching the field vertically. Pat Bryant giving us another young, physical option. And even guys like Lil Jordan Humphrey and Michael Bandy providing depth and special teams value. The offensive line is anchored by veterans like Garrett Bowles, Quinn Miners, Mike McGlinchey, and Ben Powers, solid. Experienced guys who can protect B.O. and open lanes for the run game. On the ground, we've got J.K. Dobbins bringing that veteran burst. R.J. Harvey as a young homegrown talent, Tyler Beatty, Shalal McLaughlin, and depth with Cody Schrader and Deuce Vaughn. And the defense? Man, Patrick Surtain too is still the best cornerback in the entire league, period. We've got pass rush threats like Nick Bonito and Jonah Ellisis, Zach Allen and DJ Jones up front anchoring the line, and a secondary with pieces like Jaquan McMillian, Crease Abrams-Drain, and safeties ready to fly around. This isn't some young, rebuilding squad anymore. Broncos country. This is a roster that's ready to compete right now, and Sean Payton knows it better than anybody. He's got the experience from turning around franchises before, and he's got the pieces here in Dove Valley to make something truly special happen this fall. But tight end? That position has been a little bit of a question mark the last couple of seasons. Even with the solid group we have right now, Evan Engram, Adam Trautman, Nate Adkins, Lucas Krull, and young Caleb Lohner. We've had flashes, especially in the blocking game. But we haven't had that true game-changing mismatch weapon who can stretch defenses vertically and create headaches for linebackers and safeties every single week. That's exactly why this rumor feels so intriguing and why the whole fan base is locked in. If the Broncos stay quiet on free agency until after the draft, it's not because we're scared or cheap. It's pure strategy. It protects our future assets while keeping every option open to improve the team right now. And with the draft just weeks away, Broncos country is on the edge of our seats wondering what's coming next. We'll get into the big name everybody's talking about in the next part. But for now, just know that Payton is playing chess while a lot of other teams are still playing checkers. What do you think, Broncos country? Is waiting until after the draft the smart play? Or should we be more aggressive right away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love hearing from real fans like you. We're just getting warmed up here, and these next few weeks are going to be electric around Dove Valley. Let's ride. All right, Broncos country. Now let's get into the meat of it. The rumor that has everybody in the fan base talking non-stop. According to Bleacher Report, and some of the sharpest, most connected NFL voices out there, the Denver Broncos are the clear #1 destination if the Atlanta Falcons decide to move on from Kyle Pitts. Now, hold up. Picture this guy for a second. 6'6", 250 pounds, straight out of the University of Florida, with an athleticism that makes you rewind the tape 3 times and say, man, how in the world is that even fair on a football field? His best highlights from college: stretching the seam, winning contested catches in traffic, turning what should be short gains into 40-yard explosions. It's the kind of pure, rare explosiveness you just don't see at the tight end position very often. If this scenario plays out and the Broncos actually land him, I would be over the moon excited, Broncos country. Sean Payton has a legendary, almost unmatched track record when it comes to developing tight ends into stars. Think back to Jeremy Shockey in New Orleans. That guy became a mismatch nightmare under Payton. Jimmy Graham turned into one of the most dominant red zone weapons in the league during his time there. Even Dan Campbell, who's now killing it as head coach of the Detroit Lions, was a tight end who played under Payton and learned the system inside and out. Payton knows exactly how to scheme these guys open, how to use them as chess pieces against linebackers and safeties, and how to turn raw athletic freaks into consistent, every-down producers. Our current tight end room: Evan Engram leading the way with his route-running savvy, Adam Trautman as a reliable blocker, Nate Adkins, Lucas Krull, and Caleb Lohner adding youth and depth, has been solid in spots. But we haven't had that true game-breaker who can force defenses to adjust their entire coverage scheme every single snap. Let's talk real numbers and real fit, because that's what actually matters when these deals get done. Kyle Pitts is currently on the franchise tag with Atlanta, so the cap hit for Denver, if we make the move, would land right around $15 million, which slides in perfectly with the $18 to $19 million we've got available right now. Throw in a little bit of restructuring on a couple other deals, and we're still in great shape to keep all the young guys we drafted and build around Bo Nix for the long haul. You don't need some massive pile of extra cap space to make something like this work. The numbers line up better than most casual fans realize. On the trade side, insiders are saying a third-round pick alone might not get it done, but a third plus a fourth. That's second or third-day draft capital for a player with legitimate all-pro upside. Then you extend him long-term on a deal that makes sense for both sides. And suddenly, you've got your tight end of the future locked in. But let's keep it 100% real with each other. Broncos country. No sugarcoating. I've put Kyle Pitts on fantasy teams in past seasons, and he hasn't always lived up to the massive hype that surrounded him coming out of Florida. Not because the dude lacks talent. The man is a certified freak athlete. He reminds me so much of a young Evan Engram, the version we all hoped we'd get after that big preseason buzz a couple years back. Back when he was coming out of college, scouts were calling him the most athletic tight end they had ever seen at the position. A better pure prospect than some of the names everybody's raving about in more recent classes like Brock Bowers or Colston Loveland types. That's exactly why Atlanta spent such a high draft pick on him in the first place. The raw physical tools, the speed, the body control, it's all there on tape if you go back and watch those Florida highlights. The risk is real, though, and we have to talk about it honestly. You're making a bet on a guy who hasn't quite put it all together yet for a long-term contract, and there's some uncertainty baked into that. But if Sean Payton can unlock him the same way he's done with other tight ends throughout his career, we're talking about a weekly mismatch nightmare for opposing defenses. Imagine Pitts running routes in the middle of the field, alongside Courtland Sutton's size and reliability, Jaylen Waddle's proven speed and yards after catch ability, Marvin Mims' quick twitch explosiveness, Troy Franklin's vertical threat, and Bo Nix's improving accuracy and decision-making. That offense could become absolutely scary for defenses to game plan against. Bo would have weapons in every direction, and coordinators couldn't just bracket one guy and hope for the best. It would open up the entire playbook in ways we haven't seen yet. I'd be absolutely pumped if this trade happens. Broncos country. It would send a loud, clear message to the whole league that the Broncos are in full Super Bowl window mode. No more waiting around. We're trying to win right now. But I also completely understand why some fans are being a little cautious. It's a big swing, no question. Still, when you watch the film of his best moments, the ceiling on this kid is through the roof. If the Broncos can pull this off, it changes the entire identity of how we attack defenses week in and week out. And with the way Payton develops talent and schemes around his players, I trust him to make it work better than almost any other coach in the league. What do you guys think about all this? Would you love seeing Kyle Pitts lining up in orange and blue next to Bo Nix? Or do you think the price in picks and cap is just too high right now? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one and love the back and forth with real Broncos fans. We're talking about real Super Bowl aspirations here. And a move like this would show the front office is all in on making this team a legitimate contender in 2026 and beyond. So let's say the Kyle Pitts deal doesn't come together for whatever reason. What then, Broncos country? There are still other smart paths the Broncos could take to upgrade the tight end position without giving up the farm or risking the future. One name that keeps popping up in the rumor mill is David Njoku. If we wait until that Monday, right after the draft, he could be available on a short-term, prove-it deal for a fraction of what a big trade would cost. No draft picks surrendered at all. Njoku is a noticeably better inline blocker than Pitts is right now, and he's still an elite-level athlete after the catch. He might not have quite the same straight-line explosion as Pitts, but he more than makes up for it with reliability and physicality in the run game. Exactly the kind of guy Payton loves to feature in his offense. As Payton's right-hand man on the offensive side. Davis Webb has real history with Evan Engram from their time together with the New York Giants. If the Broncos don't chase Pitts hard or go after Njoku aggressively, it might be a quiet signal that Webb and the rest of the coaching staff truly believe they can squeeze even more production out of Engram this season. Remember that back injury last year against the Indianapolis Colts? It really limited him after that game, and the target share and production dropped off more than any of us wanted to see. But Engram still got the route-running skills, the hands and the experience, and with a full healthy offseason in Payton's system, maybe he has a big bounce-back year. The room we already have: Engram, the blocking specialist Adam Troutman, Nate Adkins, Lucas Kroll, and young Caleb Lohner, isn't empty by any means. It's functional and has pieces that fit what we do. But we all know we want more consistent big play juice out of the position. Or maybe, and this is something a lot of insiders are whispering about, the Broncos are just really high on this year's tight end class in the draft. It's shaping up to be one of the deepest and most talented groups at the position in recent memory. Guys like Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon, an elite athlete who's been compared to some of the best recent prospects. Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt could be an absolute steal if he slides into the second or third round. Max Clare, one of the most well-rounded evaluation scouts have seen in years. And even some intriguing later-round talents could be available when we pick at number 62 overall, or use that extra Dolphins pick we acquired in previous moves. If Payton and the scouts see a guy who fits the system perfectly and slides to us at a value spot, why not pull the trigger? Draft capital stays protected, young talent gets added, and we avoid any major cap headaches down the road. Whichever way this plays out over the next few weeks, it tells us something important about where the front office sees this team. If they chase Kyle Pitts hard and make the trade, it's a clear signal that we are in full Super Bowl window mode. No plans to wait until late January or early February. We're trying to win championships right now. If they go the David Njoku route on a cheap prove-it deal, or decide to stand pat with the current room and add a rookie in the draft, it might mean the staff believes our current weapons plus Bo Nix are already close enough. And they're just adding the right piece at the right price without overpaying. Either way, I'm excited as a fan. This team is built to compete at a high level, and tight end is really the one spot where one smart addition could push us over the top and make us a nightmare matchup for anybody in the AFC Broncos country. I want to hear straight from you in the comments. Would a Kyle Pitts trade get you the most fired up and believing we're making a serious run this year? Would you rather roll the dice on David Njoku on a one-year deal? Or are you all in on trusting Evan Engram to bounce back big while maybe grabbing a rookie tight end in the draft? Maybe you think we keep the room exactly how it is right now and let the guys we already have step up and prove it. Drop your honest thoughts below. Which move would make you the most confident that the Broncos are going all the way in 2026? Which one gets you the most excited to buy tickets and tailgate all season long? These next few weeks are going to be absolutely wild around Dove Valley and all across Broncos country. The draft is right around the corner. The roster is already stacked with talent like Bo Nix slinging the ball, Cortland Sutton and Jaylen Waddle on the perimeter. A defense that can match up with anybody led by Patrick Surtain too. And we're all just waiting to see what the final pieces look like. Sean Payton's got this franchise believing again. The pieces are here, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. Thanks for hanging with me through this deep dive, Broncos country. Keep the conversation going in the comments. Smash that like button if you're as pumped for this upcoming season as I am, and I'll catch you in the next one. Go Broncos. Let's get that Lombardi.